Videos is not easy. I hope you will always. New series by a beautiful girl No. In her 20s because her parents forced her to get. Make survival MVs to satisfy her. She made a model like a green leaves to make a roof, next to the place where she. How could she ignore this piece? She holds this delicious bait and puts it. Besides, she also has a monkey friend like. This made her scared because she was a girl. Later, the man in black disappeared in the first day of the survival challenge. Very fast-flowing streams. To continue, Miss 2. Wash her face to wake up to continue her. Like she felt hungry, she wanted to go make. Is to climb on the cart that falls to the. Purpose of climbing is to collect the. Create a pattern, each wire will be bent. Connect them together using. Hold tightly and continue to flow the green wire. Rattan rope. This green rope is very stiff and end of the original frame. It turns out she. Feet against the bumps, the thorns of the forest. Wear them, right? Are you? Original, you wear them instead of having to work hard to make sandals. A wild beauty, 6 tons. Backpack to continue her journey thanks to the pair of. Without falling and it also. Dry and cross the stream, the first. Legs were atrophied from walking, waiting for 2. Without much hesitation, she chose. Near the stream, seeing crabs or. Still didn't want to catch them. Instead, she cut down the. Collected more vines after. Was a matter of course, a bunch of plants and a bunch of. Simple wild structure, she said. Machete to cut down a tree, but the result did. Will be ground at the sharp bottom too. Ground is to use. Circle with a homemade compass, after. Circle of soil, using. Anyway, let's continue to follow. Form a network of fences, it is. Turn, each piece of tree has been inserted but there is. And rain and for sleeping, you can't make a heating stove. Foundation, I'm sure you'll bring it. Glean the bunch of vines. Create a slightly rough but solid surface. This familiar operation is quite. Follow this method, which is both discreet. Is no need to waste time finding more. Her waist. She stopped. Then she tied and pulled a rope. And bent to trees to create an. Her waist when bent. Once bent, she. Now fallen. The green tiger of August on the. Like the main gate. Just bend and tie the. Roof is like an upside down bowl and. Again, in general, this model looks. Mr. May's episode did it, guys. Do you? On the ground instead of hanging up. With the roof, it seems like it'll be more difficult because the. Is also a big gap. If the tray is small and. Because the terrain of the machine is. Simple fence and then fine. There, the ventilation is very good. Finally, cover the roof with. Now it does. Looks like a head with blue hair, so. It won't be knocked down and fly away. To be. Designed to fill it up. New house the vines. Sturdy circle, what will you do with? Are a metal bracelet for the house too. After placing the completed house, she that the space inside is not. Tomorrow, this set of blankets is very similar to Miss Bay's cotton wool. The only thing missing was 2 people who reported they didn't have it. Some more security designs, household and can't rest at this time. The first day is work on the design for a while. She creates are familiar with it and know what it is, right? And it took more than half. Living easier. She also shared all of her pots and pans. This age position is very good too. Created a sturdy stove and then each other. After cleaning the fireplace, she went to find. Used her father's axe to cut it in half and cut it in 2. Have a little for later, then set aside a piece of. To ignite the fire, use an alloy to shoot out, and caught fire after Ender tried to. Fortunately, the place where he sang be food. The main starting ingredients will be potatoes. 1 colorful pot like this. How can one? Mixture is ready. Stew cooked and mixed. Burst into this delicious fire when night comes. She brought stewed curry served with. Also about the same age. The pot you found at. Dish more delicious. You can skewer the bread. Bake it. Fire for about 3 minutes. Will be crispy and curry spices plus the sweetness of the bread. The armpits are sore and the tongue is numb. What a luxury to eat today. Look at her eating. Is the time to officially relax. The vegetables have been stewed for Today's first step was a success. Pans and went to bed. The first day in the night. This moment was so lonely after. Continued to knit a design. Looking. Seemed much softer than yesterday. It was not as. Of the base is probably about 15 centimeters and can be. Top is 2. They get in, they will not be able to. Facilitate movement. Take the soft string. Centipede style model. This is like braiding hair for. Brighter than yesterday, especially her shoes are. Looks much more active. Just tie it. New food, and this basket fish goes very well with. 6-ton forest. It's not very suitable to wear. Rabid dog hasn't figured it. A while of waiting, it looks like a forest a lot. The large brim of the hat shields the sun. Try pointing it at the socket, it fits her very well. But she will make a fish hook rather than a hook. Bend it so you have a hook and a tiny. Lure them, and what are you waiting for? Let's go. Busy day. With a fishing rod and a basket of fish, she set. Sky. It looked like a nest of spider webs. In the tent in fear. Tears fell from her eyes. She was. Why she built a high house to avoid the pursuit. I don't. She took advantage of the rattan strings left over from wild sandals. Do you remember the first video? Built a small house, just like a sinking cage. Convenient. As for the smell and the hook, she didn't. Fire and then bent it into a hook. She began to prepare to do a hat. a fish basket and a... For her? Into the cool stream. Why didn't she? What? A big question mark in the mind. Ornamental purposes. Ignore the location a few dozen meters away from the sun basin. Less than 2 minutes from the larger water location. She had a row. The first fish brought up. I guessed. This is a net to wait for the second fish. This time, she, less than a few minutes, took the bait. Oh. Continued to catch the fish, put it in the cage and closed the lid. Other feng shui pulled up the fishing line and... Let's watch this scene again too. Was not too long, she stopped. At least in the future when there is no more. Your fishing skills, you won't have to go hungry. The cage in vain fishing after. Good mood. This time was different. But first she saw. Using entra magic titch ho turned into. Rope together and soon the loop. Rebuilt it, she continued processing the remaining half of the loop. Use a wire that has been hit back in a young wires because it will create a second time. It's a green forest. Oh my god, the prediction was clear as after cutting off the excess wire, she held. It's so clever. You guys don't want to let is to wash the rice. No matter how big the fire is, it's fire. Now it's time for the fish to be left in the still fresh and there. Wriggling, but 5 fish of 5. When you return tonight, in the tent where she made the pass through a bamboo tree to dig deep into the fish, the already hungry, taste a piece of. No song is correct. After the porridge was cooked, she hung furnace. The children lined up in a straight line. Small fish because of their size and thin skin. It was not yet changed color, but after being the aroma and crispy freshness of. Wait until it's done cooking. It's not a waste. She doesn't blow and bite. Slightly different way of eating, but it's probably bland taste of the white porridge and the fresh fish. You put in about 2-3 pieces of fresh fish. If you tear the remaining pieces, you'll delicious but unbelievably delicious. Even though she was. Hope she will make a wild skincare series. Of night. The dim light of the oil lamp returned after bed after a tiring day, a puff of a to sleep. This survival style is a bit strange. Then, suddenly, she heard a sound calling her. Bright light in the distance coming closer to. Then lit the fire, scared with a. We have seen. We cannot clearly determine whether the guy in something. He also holds a knife weapon. Deserted that the women will probably pee their pants. Black is getting closer and closer to. Looks like he's eating scraps of food. In the closed tent, is there a detective? For her, he hasn't finished eating yet. I'm really a perverted thief. Was Miss too harmed by him? A moment later. Left after finishing dinner until the with rattan strings and eventually brought a bunch of. If you had followed from the beginning, you would have. Right? Is a model of a spider nest. Disappeared last night, she cannot reappear, and she also has no intention of leaving the building a shelter tape. Time plus gathering food, here, especially fish, so I. Here, if the guy in black appears again, I will shelter. Now let's observe the built. This model system was inspired by will be the solution. Let me hand these ropes. Is to find a hard rope tension point, looking at the from 5 to 6 meters high, and there are. You can pull out a long, taut strip from the climbing rope. From the thin threads, this rope is safer than 2 has arranged many sequentially into tall rocks. Such ropes, and they intersect at starting point, the tip of the outward expansion. Out this expansion has these 16 points of tension that withstand once the far advanced tangential wire is to come on the vine's tangent to the spider web. A horizontal connection because of the height, so simple support frame in advance and then stand. If the first step is to build a most difficult, the last step is you have to control the wire apart, evenly apart from each other at is the most amazing work. Anyway, will be tighter, and this is also the point where the Miss 2 wants to lie down to lower her back. Knit shoes once she is knitting in this position. Otherwise the workload will be as large as foraging will be limited, and that thud comes back. Just bring it up, and Dan has completed, but getting up there. Move, she has specially designed a that in difficulty, the wisdom emerges that years from meters placed it directly on one side of the directly sat on it and saw that she was in this unique idea. After dancing for a while, a comfortable place to lie down. This is the we've ever seen before, which of experience that has been available since. First of all, I have to say that. And what do you feel when warmly cooperate to let the rabid dog know? Climbed down the ladder to find food. First, small bamboo basket, and get ready to look for food. Made the small animals around afraid too. Different types of food, from naturally toxic animals. It's truly. She doesn't plan to participate much in wild mushrooms around. She found these mushrooms have grown more. This quite a few different types of mushrooms here. Will look tough like chicken. Finally, Miss found a new surprise. There are edible snails. So, wild snails. Anyway, 3 fish. The last roast. She went to the river to first clean the wild must be cleaned otherwise. And we won't have a video to watch her. Snails she puts in the pot. Right? After adding mountain spring water, I put can contain quite a lot of bacteria. So harmful bacteria inside. After, though life was no longer convenient, those strange shapes would come back, so she was very each snail that entered the house, but the sky. A while, then she continued to light the snails, then adding mushrooms at the end. This dish looked so delicious. When began to enjoy the most delicious meal of the forget her troubles. The trouble was caused by the to hide from the spider web, even if that guy. The rain came back. This rain washed away unfortunate black scorpions that Miss Two had picked up in the put 2 black claws on the stove and grilled her. Were like a lobster. Mutation 2. Try one piece, it probably won't be crispy. Also stole a large turtle there and put a lot of lotus seeds and lotus flowers. Lotus leaves and cooked, saying that the outside will be lotus wrapped turtle in clay and soon lotus seeds plus the turtle. It's really so. Mr. Vang has now broken up with his 7th sister and gone. But to catch the child, turtles and collecting the lot of effort not only through sand and mud but scary to say the least to survive in. Not many people dared to challenge. Hook to catch 5 or 6 black bamboo fish. Catching them, she cleaned them and put them on skewers. Anonymous black-robed man to break into her place of residence. Then it also ate up the leftovers. Shelter was so worried that crying with confusion. The next day she tall tree. We watched the video of this scene for only a on the net she just woven. Time flew. Was raining quite heavily tonight. This made her sure that the plan she was woken up and discovered appearance of her old self there outside. Precaution. Half a minute later, that dark figure quickly hid in the spider web. Fact that she was high up hid the next morning when she came down from the was not very safe. She determined that she had to leave there. She passed through, came across a snake winding. Look at it for a long time from all. A skin that can hide in the it live with nature than she. A stream, she put. Stream, she went to the forest. She had to be. Dangerous praise, so she was afraid of sudden surprises. Need to ingest wild fruit that can satisfy. Will come to a full pond to see the many blooming lotus flowers. This will make. It still carries a gentle. Can collect a lot of lotus seeds which will be. For this reason she took off her shoes and of the mud and water the lotus pond was not. And walked for a long time, but crawled to the nearest shore as soon as she some abnormalities in her legs. She did not expect that. Its body could only die completely if put in a fire. From head to tail, she scary rabid dog. Although she said she was scared, she was very scared. Calmly as if nothing happened. Leeches from her abdomen. Exhausted after removing those. Backpack and holding her shoes and walking forward. Car, maybe she could find a source of. Attacked suddenly by her sister. Her $2 million of fakes rushed in like. Through the weeds, it looked like it was. This turtle must be as big as her face. If you can walk for a while, having an income like coming to a more open location, she wants to. Watched it from the first seconds and the video from the day, how she prepares it so that the report it again, to make a turtle cover the turtle inside so that it can be easily. Continues to go to a large green wasteland with the full of seeds. This time she chose to return home to. Rushed out to greet him lying down. Cuddling, a jealous man comes close by and this newspaper duo has already changed its direction to 2. Weather suddenly erratic, yeah okay. In the lake is increasing, the plants. How warm it is to eat something spicy and hot. Sat down to brush her hair, it looks like. Red lips, curls, Asian girls have to. Can I have a beauty secret? With Mr. Van to move to the tortoise. Still moving, this guy seems to be alive and takes a knife and makes a cut, pulling. Minutes, she took the lotus seeds and stuck them. And overwhelmed the fishy smell of the lotus seed mud. She put it directly inside the with people eating it, but fat and a layer of marinated oil that can be grilled, cooked. Lotus petals is lined inside to increase the Vietnam's national flower. It is true that there are few from the top. Directly, this chili is just one shot and let it go to grill. Food is delicious, marinated thin. And she looks for more mud to cover the. So Vac is looking for mud. It's really like the game. Around all the lotus leaves, the ground when baked. Heat and avoiding the food from melting the. And all these new dishes since it was still. Big fire burning in the night is lit. Minutes, maybe the meat is cooked and then we're happy because screens and 2 is the friends are warmed by the fire and sleep all the time. Gradually burned. This as a signal that it was ripe. Fourth sister began to rise to the nose in the lotus leaves outside. The leaves are scorched, but the still be soft and sweet. The smell of the inside, she begins to tear the lotus leaves as each turtle becomes even more exaggerated when to its climax along with the scent of combines with flavor stimulate the taste. Stimulated feeling like her whole mouth is. Small bite and taste the authentic aroma. Large piece of tortoise meat she started to. Her mouth was filled with delicious turtle meat. Recharged and the dog on the deliciousness has calmed it down. This perfect meal has put together our video today. Rabies see you loves.